Dr. Sami?
About half an hour.
You have a half an hour presentation?
No. I think it's a
Can we
presentation
can we do it in 15 minutes? Then we have other questions, and we have discussions from the other members who are on the chat.
I think my presentations answered all the questions.
So no, don't answer all the questions now.
Okay.
So Dr. Sami?
Brother, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Zainul. Brother Zainul, I think it's better to give Mr. Ruslan 10 minutes and let him and make discussion after that directly, because he will go to the suhoor. Because what time Fajr Azan, ya Mr. Ruslan?
Yeah.
What time Fajr Azan? Now 4 o'clock. Yeah. What time?
No, 4 o'clock. Yeah.
Sorry?
4 o'clock.
Oh, so you have 2 hours. You have 2 hours for Azan.
Or 2 hours?
No, I mean until Azan. Yeah, okay. We can start now. Mr. Zainul, we can start now. Mr. Zainul.
Because after this, I need to sahur.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to start now. I just want to get this sorted out. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All participants who are out there. Our special guests, Brother Ruslan Sa'id, Dr. Sami Salahat, and our engineer there, Muaz, who's there helping us with all the technical side of this webinar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Sayyidina Muhammadu wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Tonight we are very, very pleased to have with us Dr. Ruslan Sa'id, who is from Malaysia, and he will be talking to us about the Johar Waqf, which is based in Malaysia. And we hope, inshallah, that he would be able to give us some insights into into that particular Waqf. Just by way of introduction, I think Dr. Ruslan has been with the Zakah organization has been a director of the Zakah organization in Malaysia, and has got wide experience in that field. And we hope that he will be able to give us some insight into the whole issue of the Waqf in Johar. So I think with those just few words of introduction, may I ask Brother Ruslan to do his presentation.
Okay, thank you, Zainal Abidin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ramadan Kareem to all of you, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank the organizer, Dr. Sami, for the invitation to join me in this conference meeting. Even though we are in the month of Ramadan with different times in each country, the seminar was successful, I think, because we have the 4 days, or how many days before? 4 or 3 days, yeah? But I'm so sorry because I cannot join before. Today, inshallah, I will share my experience of Malaysian in Waqf management. Malaysia is a unique country with we have 40 states with a king acting as the head of religion in the state. Prior to 2004, the administration of the Waqf was regulated and fully managed by the State Islamic Religious Council, SIRC, as the sole trustee of the Waqf property for each state, and Mutawali appointed by SIRC. Beginning in 2000, the federal government saw a need to have SIRC strengthen the development of Waqf throughout the country. In addition, the Department of Waqf, Zakat and Hajj, Jauhar, as the federal government agency, was established on 27 March 2004 by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Abdullah Haji Ahmad Badawi, which act as the coordinator and facilitator in matter related to Waqf at the federal level. In addition, the Waqf Foundation was established in 2008 as a non-profit organization to implement the policy introduced by Jauhar in the development of Waqf property in collaboration with SIRC. The establishment of Jauhar is the starting point of a new era in the development of Waqf properties in Malaysia. This is because the benefit of Waqf are no longer focused on old tradition, but are extended so that benefit can be felt even greater for the welfare of the Ummah. This also can be seen through the implementation of large-scale and high-impact Waqf projects that are economic. The role of Jauhar proved to be successful in assisting the SIRC to coordinate and evident advance to wealth of Muslim as the source of wealth and strength of the Ummah.
Sorry, Brother Rouslan, can I just ask you, just to clarify, that Jauhar, what does it Jauhar stand for?
Jauhar is a development of Waqf, Zakat and Hajj.
Okay, so it's a department of Zakat, Waqf and Hajj that's in the Malaysian federal government.
Yeah, federal government. And
Okay.
SIRC, that means for the state government.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. In the future, Jauhar will continue to ensure that the administration of Waqf, Zakat and Hajj property throughout the country is more systematic, organized and effective. Under the Malaysia Constitution, all matters concerning Islamic affairs are under the jurisdiction of the state government. Yeah, that means for the Islamic affairs is under state government. In the federal, we just manage for the country. This includes matters relating of Waqf and the state at the state level. The regulating authorities on Waqf and Zakat are known as State Islamic Religious Council (SIRC) and are responsible to the Royal Highness, the King, yeah? The Sultan of each state. We have 14 states, yeah? What I mentioned before. At the federal level, within the above framework and towards coordinating effort on matters concerning Waqf, Zakat and Hajj in Malaysia, transcending federal and state level. The federal government of Malaysia has established Jauhar in 2004. Therefore, Jauhar is a federal government agency under the Prime Minister Department of Malaysia. That means Jauhar is under Prime Minister Department. Jauhar is a federal government agency under the Prime Minister Department, which is responsible to standardize, coordinate, and monitor the development of Awqaf in Malaysia. Many think that Waqf law in Malaysia is a major barrier to the development of Waqf in Malaysia. Yeah, that is the Wakaf law is not uniform as it exists at the state level and is subject to the jurisdiction of the State Islamic Religious Council as IRC. In fact, the Wakaf laws in Malaysia that make SIRC as the sole trustee of Wakaf properties in the state that have caused dissatisfaction with some parties, including private trustees and sometimes beneficiaries under special Wakaf. Hence, the law is seen as barrier to the development of Wakaf in Malaysia. However, there has been progressing in the field of Wakaf in Malaysia, such as the acceptance of cash Wakaf and corporate Wakaf. The role of Islamic finance is growing with the option to finance the development of Wakaf through concepts such as istisna, musyarakah, mutanakisah, and tabarruk. Lately, educational institutions see Wakaf as a way out so as not to rely on government funds, leading to the development of universities and Wakaf college in Malaysia. We have, for example, Bestari University College in Besut, Terengganu, and Islamic University Malaysia in Putrajaya, in Cyberjaya. Banks and companies also see potential Wakaf in generating additional income through tax exemption. Malaysia Chamber of Commerce and the Malaysia Islamic Chamber of Commerce as a potential economic jihad strategy also actively promote Wakaf for Malays and Muslims in Malaysia. All this explains the importance of reviving Wakaf, and the first thing that should be refined is the legal framework of Wakaf management and its standardization. Yeah. Wakaf legislation in Malaysia, we have the Wakaf system in Malaysia operates under the framework in three types of law, yeah? Namely the Islamic State, the State Islamic Religious Administration Enactment, and the State Enactment. Yeah? We have the three stages. Then about the Wakaf pre-independent, Wakaf in ancient times, I think every country we have the same problem. Yeah? Wakaf in ancient times was focused on three main religious institutions, such as mosque, madrasah, and cemeteries. Prior to 1952, there was no written law adopted by the State Islamic Religious Council for the implementation of Wakaf property management. Usually, Wakaf in ancient times was not systematically practiced. Usually, the Wakaf will entrust the trust to local community leaders, such as the Imam, the chief of village, head to carry out the purpose of the Wakaf. As such, the Wakaf was verbal and non-verbal. The Wakaf did not register the Wakaf in the SIRC, which caused some of these Wakaf to be made into the heritage of the leaders of the community by those who did not know. The effect is that this Wakaf property is lost in time and cannot be traced. That is the problem. And then, post-independent, it was after 52, and specifically after independence that only the administration of Wakaf became systematic because it had the backing of the law outlined in the enactment as set out in the respective state Islamic administration enactment. The introduction of the wider concept of wakaf is not solely focused on worship. Even some states like Kelantan, Terengganu, and Penang have had their own business premise based on wakaf. The SIRC has strengthened their system with the existence of online system, computerized wakaf registration, and so on. With the cooperation of the Federal Director General of Land and Mines and the Lands and Mines Office, the word wakaf has been included in the land legislation grant. Effective coordination of the wakaf law has been implemented between the federal government and state government, because land is under state government, like also for the Islamic affairs. Assistance of parties interested in implementing and strengthening the wakaf, including the Wakaf Malaysia Foundation at the federal state.
You've got about
1 minute. 2013.
About 1 minute for your 15 minutes.
Yeah. Malaysia has registered 30,888.89 hectares of Awqaf land for specific and general purpose of wakaf. Out of this, only 23.77 hectares, that means 0.21%, has been co-developed by Johor and the state authority with federal grant of about 250 million and 3,300.78 hectares, 29.55% solely developed by the state authority.
Sorry to interrupt here. I think what we're going to do, if we may, we can stop here for a little while and see if we can start entertaining some questions from some of our brothers and sisters who are on the platform here. And perhaps I can just start with asking you that prior to 2004, all the Awqaf in Malaysia were regulated under the State Religious Council. Is that correct?
Can you hear me? Yeah. You can. Yeah.
Okay. So was it only after 2004 that the federal government has now taken, has got some sort of intervention or some structure to, like you say, to standardize, coordinate, and develop Awqaf in Malaysia? So so Johor itself does not have any Waqf under its administration.
Yes. We just coordinate in the state for the Waqf. Okay. Yeah.
So each state has got the Awqaf in each state is controlled and managed by the State Religious Council in the respective states, and the Sultan is the Mutawalli or the Nadir, and he is the sole Mutawalli. So anybody that makes a Waqf in Malaysia in any of the states, am I correct that the Sultan is the Mutawalli?
Yeah. Yeah, that means the state is control for the wakaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything about wakaf, they should to manage by state. Yeah. Jauhar Jauhar just give the funding, for example, from government for the properties in wakaf in the state.
Okay. Now we're going to open up the floor for questions. And if there's anybody that would love to ask our esteemed guest some questions, you may do so, and our engineer will ensure that your video and your mic will be operational. So if you would like to enter and you'd like to speak and you'd like to ask a question, you may do so. Dr. Sami, would you like to start off with any questions? Anybody else there? If I may also ask you...
Actually, Dr. Hisham, Dr. Tari.
Is Dr. Hisham there? Engineer Muaz, is Dr. Hisham there with us?
Yes, 1 minute, please.
Can you hear me? I'm with you.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
All right.
And our brother Ruslan is back. You can go ahead. You can go ahead, Dr. Hisham. Welcome.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to thank Dr. Ruslan for his presentation. Now, my question is, we know that just about in all states in Malaysia, they have many undeveloped Awqaf properties, particularly in Johor, in Perak, in Penang, and in so many. Now, I want to know to what extent has Johor been able to coordinate, to facilitate, and to support these religious councils in managing and developing their Awqaf? And is the federal budget that Johor has sufficient? And if not so, how is it allocated amongst the states to develop their properties? Now we know that also there are many Awqaf that are, they are in name only in the, as Waqf, but they are really controlled by the Chinese. One big example that comes to mind is the Kampong Makam in Penang, which is in a very, good location, prime location in the city, and it's a huge Waqf, and the return that Awqaf gets is less than 1 per 1,000 from that, and the rest of the money goes to the Chinese. Now, this probably is not a unique case. I want to know what is, Johor, what are they doing about these anomalies? And also, I want to know if, the private Waqfs and the corporate Waqfs, like, the Waqf of Johor Corporation, Pertini, and others, they come under the purview of Johor.
I cannot hear before because it's the problem with the sound. Can you please again?
Okay.
The question.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. In summary, I'm not going to repeat it all.
Yeah.
I want to know, to what extent has Johor been able to coordinate and facilitate and support the religious councils in managing and developing their Awqaf? And the budget that Johor gets from the federal government, is it sufficient to meet all the requirements of the states. Also, I want to know, what is Jawhar doing about the Awqaf that are controlled by the Chinese, like, the one in Penang, in Kampong Makam. It's a very big Waqf. It's in the center of the city and in a prime location, but yet the return to the religious council from that Waqf is, to my understanding, is less than 1 per 1,000, and the rest of the money goes to the Chinese. I also want to know whether the private Awqaf and the corporate Awqaf, like those established by Johor Corporation and the Bank Islam Malaysia and Pertini and others, are also under the purview of Jawhar.
Dr. Hisham, if I may ask you also to switch on your camera, please.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, give me the...
I think it's inaccurate information for the...
not
about,
coming.
About Waqaf in Penang, not controlled by Chinese. Because it's still under state Islamic religious council. So controlled by Muslim. So I think that's inaccurate information. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else asking questions, please? We would request you to kindly switch on your camera. So our audience out there would like to see who's asking the questions as well. Your name does appear on the screen, but we'd like to see you as well. Jazakallah.
Well, my camera, I could not switch it on for some reason. It did not come on.
Okay.
Mr. Hisham, you are from? Sorry.
I'm talking to you from Bahrain right now.
Bahrain.
Yes.
You have been in Malaysia before. I mean, you
so many times.
Huh? Many times.
Yeah, I've been so many. Yeah, many times.
So have been to Penang. You know about Awqaf in Penang?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, because Penang is I think the state is very, the first state. We have housing project. We have 2 projects in Penang. So we have cooperate by SIRC very closely. So that's why we can manage 2 projects in Penang, and inshallah for the next we have 1 more project for housing.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, Mr. Hisham. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, better.
Yeah, my camera is on now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Right.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Inshallah, if you need more information, you come to Malaysia.
Yes,
sure.
It will be a pleasure. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Okay, bye. Thank you.
I was going to ask you, with regard to, you said that Jawhar is really the body that standardizes, coordinates, and focuses on the development of Awqaf. So how has Jawhar actually been involved in the development of Awqaf in Malaysia?
Then we just control the project. We give the funding from the government. Then project run by state. After the finish the project, that is owned by state. We just provide funding. That's all.
So you don't actually initiate any projects.
No. Just finish our job.
Okay. So maybe Hisham can come in here with regard to the method of financing these projects. Is it just outright loans, or how do you people structure the finance? Dr. Hisham?
well, I was asking, whether the money, this budget that they get every year from the federal government to develop the Awqaf, how is it allocated, and what method do they use, and is this money sufficient? Because if they have 14 states and the demand is too much, how do they prioritize these projects? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. We provide the money to the state who submit the project. So the project selected by the government, federal government, from the project submitted by state. So that means not all states get the project, because we refer to which project we prefer the project. For example, we try to focus on housing for Muslim. Jadi asnaf. You know asnaf, eh?
Yeah.
So we focus on that project, but not all the country. They don't have the land, wakaf land, the suitable wakaf land to build up the apartment for housing.
So perhaps you can also tell us, apart from housing, what other types of projects has Johar funded?
We have housing, yeah, then retail space, school, education, yeah, open net block. Then we have we have also women shelter, dialysis center. That is in the various country. That is the different project. Depends on what they provide the project, and we suggest to them which one to build up the project for the country.
And then the funding that you give to the state for the different projects, do they have to repay to you, or are you giving it to them as a grant?
Not need to pay, because that did come from government.
So it's an outright grant.
Yeah.
They're very lucky, these projects.
Yeah. That's why the project in Malaysia, the special, because they come from government, they don't need to pay back.
Okay.
And we also offer by some parties to give the funding for the development of Waqaf. So we offer to state, but because of need to pay back, so they cannot accept the offer. Yeah.
Okay.
So they just waiting for the government funding.
May I take a chance, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you can just your name, Brother Sulaiman.
Yeah, my name Dr. Abdurrahman Sulaiman from Abu Dhabi and Sudan in the same time. مرحبا أستاذ رسلان سعيد. I'm happy to see you. I didn't see you since so many years. Last time we visit Kuala Lumpur with the smart guy, Dr. Salahat and Dr. Difterdar and the others. Anyway, I have 3 small questions. One regarding the laws, from the part of legislation-wise, which govern Awqaf in Malaysia. Is it federal or districts, or what type of laws? Is it get into integration, or there is interact, or any sort of conflict between these laws? This is the first question. Second, what about the governmental administrating Waqf in Malaysia? Is it directed by separate administration or by governmental directing? The last question regarding coronavirus and this musiba. What is Waqf now supporting the community in these days? What did you support the society, and what is the impact of Waqf upon coronavirus? Thank you very much.
Okay. What about Waqf? We please again the first question about the. Repeat again, please.
Legislation. The first question was about.
First question of mine. I'm asking about the law in Malaysia, which is the law govern the Awqaf in Malaysia. Is it federal or
as I mentioned before, Islamic affair under state. So the law also under state. Federal don't have the law. That means we cannot control the law under state. We just for the others, yes, but for Islamic affairs is under state. We just help them to make a law under state. For example, sorry, Dr. We have a system in Malaysia. That means under state for the other constitution. Under the Malaysia Constitution, all matters concerning Islamic affairs are under the jurisdiction of the state government. This includes matters relating to Waqaf and Zakat. So that means the law is under state, not federal, for Islamic affairs.
What did you say? How many states do you have in Malaysia?
Yeah.
How many states are there in Malaysia?
We have 40 states in Malaysia.
Okay. So just to answer Dr. Abdul Rahman's question, each state has got its own Waqf law.
No, no. Until now, only I think we have 4 states Waqf law. Yeah, we have only 4 states. They have
Only
their
4
own Waqf law. Yeah, from 14, only 4 states. They have Waqf law.
So what happens to the governance of Awqaf in the other states? Other 10 states?
They have their own, not Waqf law, but under Islamic law.
Mm-hmm.
Specific Waqf law, only 4 states.
Okay. So just to clarify, Dr. Abdul Rahman, the federal government does not have jurisdiction over the Awqaf in Malaysia. It is governed by each state. Each of the 14 states have their own governing system. Some of them have laws, some of them a special Waqf law, some of them don't have a special Waqf law.
Yeah.
Okay, so carry on with the second question.
Corona, yeah, doctor, yeah, coronavirus.
Yes.
Waqf, we help the hospital, the needs of many things in the hospital for the Waqf fund. Until now, we spend about 1 million for that.
Equal how many dollars? 1 million?
Yeah.
How many dollars? How many into dollars?
1 million. 300 more dollar.
100 more. 100,000.
300, I think.
So 1 million ringgit you spend.
Yeah, 1 million.
Okay.
For the hospital, then for the others, we have also provide. We spend the Waqf fund for the Asna.
May I understand that there is no one federal law govern Awqaf in Malaysia. It's governed by state law or state rules. And may I also understand that Awqaf in Malaysia directed by governmental organs. It's not independent. Can I know more about this point, please?
Yeah. Jauhar. Sorry.
Mr. Zainul Abdin?
Yes.
Will you pass my question to him, please?
Yeah, okay. I think this point has been made that the federal government does not have governance over the states. Each state has got its own laws and regulations, and they govern their own. And generally, the Sultan is the chief mutawalli of the Awqaf in that particular state. In fact, there's a very good book that has been written by Sayyid Khalid Rashid, Professor Sayyid Khalid Rashid, and I'm sure many of us know him. He has compiled, in fact, I have a copy of the book on the laws governing the Awqaf in Malaysia, and he goes into quite a bit of detail as to the governance in each particular state. So that is, it seems that Johar is purely perhaps an administrative and supporting organization from the federal government. It does not have its own property. It gets government grants to support projects of different states, and that's what its function is all about. Whether it does any advocacy work and promoting the concept of Waqf and so forth, maybe Brother Ruslan can enlighten us on that. But it seems as far as management of Awqaf and governance of Awqaf is not in the hands of Johar. or the federal organization of Zakat, Waqf and Hajj?
The Awqaf have the state prepare the law. But
can I say something here on this point?
Please do.
Okay. I have a note here in front of me, and I'm going to read. According to the Malaysian Federal Constitution, Sharia is the governing law of Awqaf properties. Section 25 of the Civil Law Act of 1956 states that the administration of Awqaf properties shall be in accordance with the Islamic law under the jurisdiction of individual states. So there is a federal law, but the application and the administration of that law is under the control or under the jurisdiction of each state.
Yeah. That is the statement that under law, that is all the things about Islamic matters are under state. Every federal law didn't have for the state.
Okay. We have another question here. What role do the universities and professors, like, for example, Professor Kamali, who has written on Awqaf, what role do they play in Awqaf administration?
For the university?
Yes, university professors, universities, what roles are they playing in the administration or the promotion or development of Awqaf in Malaysia?
Until today, there is no any law for that. Yeah, because the law is just for Waqaf in the state. For
I think the questioner.
I understand your question. That means for the professor university, they are
Sorry, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Roslin.
Sorry. There is no provision for the Waqaf in the university.
Okay. So, I mean, I think we do understand that many of the universities in Malaysia are running many conferences, and they have, I know that there's been a lot of students actually doing their PhD studies and so forth on Awqaf, but they don't have any practical application in any of the Awqaf as such. So I know, for example, the International Islamic University of Malaysia, they IIUM, they have a special research department as well on Awqaf. So the professors and those students, universities are playing mainly an academic role. They're not really involved in the administration or governance or advisory of any of the state Awqaf.
Yeah. In university, they have their own Waqaf funds, I think. So they run their own, not under control by. But for the university to run the Waqaf, they need to get the mutawali from Islamic state, from state. They cannot run by their own without mutawali. from the SIRC.
Mm-hmm. So that's a very interesting point, actually. That if anybody wishes to make or found a waqf in Malaysia, they have to appoint the Sultan as the Mutawalli, the state religious council. They cannot have, they are not free to appoint their own Mutawallis.
Cannot.
Isn't that contrary to the spirit of like the civil society system of Awqaf, where people can nominate their own parents or family or brothers or professionals or people that they themselves trust? Isn't that one of the reasons, perhaps, for the lack of growth of Awqaf in Malaysia?
Yeah, that's why under law, all the waqf matters need to refer to SIRC. That is become a mistake if run the waqf without permission from SIRC.
So isn't that a way in which the growth is actually being impeded? It's an impediment to growth that, it hasn't given me as a citizen of Malaysia the freedom to actually appoint my own person, somebody that I have trust in. Isn't that an impediment? I'm just talking from a point of view that, having attended quite a few of these conferences as well, where people have made that suggestion and that claim that because of the system being run in Malaysia, most of the Awqaf are old Awqaf. New Awqaf are not being coming forth because of this particular system, where the State Religious Council immediately takes over control over that waqf.
Yeah, that's why to explain that.
Okay. May I make a comment here? Just one small comment on this point. In Malaysia, there are so many ethnic groups, and the biggest group after the Malays perhaps are the Chinese, and the Chinese have put their hands on a lot of Awqaf. So when the Awqaf were put under the sultans, that in a way, has protected Awqaf, because nobody dares to trespass or encroach on the properties that under the purview of the sultan. So this has been, it has been like a double-edged sword. On one hand, it protected the Awqaf, from being taken by, others. And on the other side, it has stopped people from making new Awqaf. So it protected Awqaf in one way, but, it discouraged people from making Awqaf because they say, oh, well, now the Sultan is going to take it. So there are, pros and cons for this.
Okay. But it's a very different system from, for example, Indonesia, where we had a discussion the other night, where it is very decentralized, and that the Mutawalli or the Nadir is actually appointed by the Waqif. So, the state doesn't have any control over those Awqaf except for regulation purposes. But it's managed and controlled. And as Dr. Hisham says, it has a double-edged issue, because when it's purely civil society, it could go into perhaps mismanagement and theft and fraud and all of those kind of issues as well. but on the other hand, it also impedes the growth of the sector. So I think we need to. Is there a move in Malaysia in a way that can perhaps have a dual system where there's management by the private sector, civil society, as well as state regulation? Is there a movement towards opening up?
If we compare Malaysia to Indonesia, it's very different, yeah. Because Malaysia is very, very unique. Because we have 14 states, then we have every state we have the king, the sultan. So for these matters, I think, yeah, how to explain that, yeah. Maybe you can refer to my notes. Yeah, I sent to Dr. Sami to get the answer for this question. Okay.
Okay. Okay. There's a question also by Dr. Ayaz Mahmood. The king is the mutawalli of public waqf, but what about private waqf? Can any individual become a mutawalli of private waqf? I think that's a question that you can answer again.
Mutawalli just give to under supervision is like yayasan wakaf, yeah, Malaysia. Cannot individual cannot. But for university, for example, can. But individual cannot.
Well, that is okay. May I say something here? That's why. That is why, you know, there are new waqfs, but they are not allowed to use the word waqf. The minute, you know, as soon as the word waqf appears in any deed, you know, automatically it goes under the religious council. That's why they use endowment, they can use charitable trust, they can use anything. It is a waqf, but they do not use this word waqf in Malaysia is a very sensitive word. You know, the minute you use the word waqf, it means, you know, it's under the government. But there are new waqfs. An example of that, you know, there are the waqf of Johor Bahru, you know, it's one of the big waqf. You know, there is the waqf of this lady's, I think, Perthamini or something like that it's called. You know, and they have many properties that are waqf for the welfare of women. So there are, but they are not allowed to use the word waqf, or they avoid using it, you know, lest they will be taken over by the government.
Yeah, that's why they change the waqf item to sadaqah or endowment, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
They want to refuse from the SIRC.
That's right. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I think I have 15 minutes more for the sahur. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to end up.
Maybe I can continue my presentation, yeah?
No, I think we're going to close off at exactly in 4 or 5 minutes. So we, you know, just I think there's been quite a lively discussion on the whole processes of waqf management and governance in Malaysia. And,
I have yani last request. We would like to take sahur with Mr. Ruslan Saeed.
Thank you.
We want him to share us yani some of the spicy rice from Malaysia. And I saw someone yani smiling. I don't know now he is in Lebanon or in Saudi Arabia or in Australia.
Yeah.
Yani that lion, he is smiling, and He is wearing in green. If you see like Mr. Dar, كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله الله يبارك فيك. Thank you.
كل سنة وانتم طيبين، وشكرا جزيلا رسلان، شكرا جزيلا زين العابدين، شكرا جزيلا أخي الجميل صلاحات، وأخي مصطفى والشاب الجميل معاذ، وشاكرين لكم. لقاءات طيبة.
جزاك الله خير. Thank you so much. I actually had a small video that I would like to play before we close off. If I may, it's about a waqf in Malaysia, and if I may share it with your permission, I think if Muaz can allow me, our engineer, it would be a very good idea. But if not, then it's also okay. I would appreciate that. It is about a waqf that was done many years ago in Malaysia, and which has really grown substantially. So yeah. Okay, let me see, where is that? No. I'm trying to get posted in Zoom. Windows.
Maybe Mr. Ruslan would like to take his sahur because the time.
Yes.
And we can see, Yani.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. If you will excuse him so as to take his sahur, it's better. And we will see the video.
So I would just like to say to him, thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining with us this evening.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We hope, inshallah, to see you again, and we'd like you to visit us also in South Not sometime, inshallah.
I apologize for that. Maybe my answer cannot not clear for you, but you can send anything for me through WhatsApp. No problem. I can answer the question properly.
Okay, please share your email, please, Mr. Ruslan.
Okay, inshallah. By group.
Thank you.
In the group, yeah. Okay. Shukran.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair.
Shukran. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to play that video now.
Yeah. Okay, shukran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oh, it has stopped playing there. I'm having some difficulty in playing this. No, it's not working. Doesn't seem to be working.
Will you explain, Mr. Zainul Abidin?
Yes.
Will you explain the video, the contents, Yani, in words?
Yes, this is a gentleman that came from India, from Gujarat, many years ago to Malaysia.
Okay, will you this picture, yeah.
Yeah, this you see, I think you can see these videos that I have.
Close the presentation, Yani, because we are not going to present.
Okay.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is better.
Yeah. So basically the story is that this person, Ahmed Dauji Dadabai, came from India and he settled in Malaysia, and he had a small property there in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. And eventually this property became the headquarters of Bank Islam in Malaysia. And from one small dedication in his will, he willed that this waqf should be for education purposes. And I think a few years ago, there was an arrangement that came between one of the state organizations to actually develop this property, and it became one of the a very large property in the organization. So yeah, engineer says that he can play it, but I don't know how. What
this is
to me.
This is the headquarters of Bank Islam, and
yes.
It was developed as a BOT project. The developer, with funding coming from Bank Islam, and Bank Islam took it in collaboration with the Hajj fund that they have.
Tabung
Haji, yes.
Okay, just Brother Muaz is going to play this video for us. Muaz? You can play it, Muaz. Yes, that's correct.
Ahmad Dauji Dadaboy was born in 1907 in Gujarat, India. After traveling the world, he ultimately arrived in Malaya and made his home here in the 1940s. Ahmad Dauji was an incredibly successful businessman with assets and holdings in Malaysia and abroad. Despite his great wealth, he lived a very modest lifestyle. He lived in a simple flat in Malayan mansion, Jalan Masjid, India. Multilingual, he is an avid reader with over 1,000 books on a wide variety of topics. Before his death, he willed that his wealth and fortune be used for the education and economic improvement of Muslims. On 18th September 1991, the High Court of Kuala Lumpur declared that Majlis Agama Islam Wilayah Persekutuan, or MAWIP, were the trustees for the Ahmad Dauji estate. MAWIP is the principal Islamic agency in the Federal Territory, and in 2007 began the process of developing Ahmad Dauji Dadaboy's Waqaf land located at Lot 168 and 169, Jalan Perak, Kuala Lumpur, measuring 1.21 acres. This was a strategic partnership between MAWIP, Lembaga Tabung Haji, and Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. The launch of the Waqaf Land Development Project was officiated by then Prime Minister Datuk Sri Abdullah Haji Ahmad Badawi. The tower was then officiated by His Royal Highness Al-Wathiqu Billah Tuanku Mizan Zainal Abidin, the 13th monarch. This development serves as the first commercial Waqaf project in Malaysia. The estate was originally valued at 34 million ringgit and now is worth hundreds of millions of ringgit. 56.6 million ringgit is the value of the lease, and this commercial property will become the exclusive property of MAWIP after the lease expires after 25 years. A prayer hall is located here, named in honor of Ahmad Dauji Dadaboy, and has a capacity of 3,000 worshippers. By commercially developing the Waqaf land, MAWIP was recognized as the premium Waqaf land developer among state Islamic agencies. Allah Yarham Ahmad Dauji also willed one shop lot and 2 houses in the Kuala Lumpur area. The proceeds from his shares in and outside Malaysia have been set aside by MAWIP in a fund to be used for other Waqf development projects in the Federal Territory. This MAWIP development is proof that Islamic agencies are capable of building commercial projects on Waqf land. It is also a symbol of the extraordinary individual that was Ahmad Daoji Tadaboy.
Okay, Jazakallah. Thank you, Engineer Muaz. That was very quick thinking from your side to be able to locate this on YouTube and to play it for us. So you see, this was an amazing waqf, absolutely. And I think that, you know, it's a tremendous example to show that somebody that came in the early 1900s and was able to donate this in his will, through his will, and today it's like a multi-million ringgit waqf that's supporting a lot of projects in Malaysia. So it's a real, very inspiring video, and to show people that, you know, waqf is long term. It's not something short term. Alhamdulillah.
And also, you know, a lesson to be learned from this project. This project is a BOT, and BOT, it means, you know, it's a partnership between, you know, Awqaf and the private developer. So this project is a case study, in fact, for Awqaf.
Absolutely. And I hope that somebody somewhere along the line, maybe one of the scholars in Malaysia, would actually do a proper PhD on this particular project. Since it is claimed to be one of the first commercial development projects in Malaysia, I think it would be wise and wonderful if somebody could actually do a study on it. But anyway, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much to everyone out there, to all the participants that joined tonight's webinar. And we hope that you'll join us again for another English webinar night after tomorrow. Tomorrow being Thursday, so on Friday night, there should be another one. I don't know what the plan is and who is going to be the guest for that evening. But Jazakallah khairan. I would again close off with Surah Wal-Asr. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal-Asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. And all the best. Stay safe during all this lockdown and COVID-19, and enjoy the rest of Ramadan, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.
Inshallah, Jazakallah khair. Shukran. Thank you for all.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And thank you to all the guests and all the panelists out there as well.
Shukran. Also, Zain al-Abidin, if you pass us the title of the book of Professor Kamali regarding the tashri'at of waqf, the law of waqf in Malaysia.
Yeah, I could actually just pick it out from my cupboard here and show you the book, actually, if you like.
Okay.
I don't know if you.
So just send us the
yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll send you the.
Yeah, by WhatsApp.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Thank you very much.
I'll put it on the group.
Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Mahasinin.